In a land rich with tradition and spirit, two young Nigerians confront the shadows of their childhoods. One battles crippling perfectionism, the other hears voices no one else can. As hidden wounds from the past erupt into neurosis and psychosis, their paths to healing weave through Western psychotherapy and traditional African rituals. This is a journey through the human psyche filled with suspense, culture, trauma, and redemption. What to expect? A powerful fusion of Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa cultural psychology. Freudian stages of development oral to genital. The making and breaking of the id, ego, and superego. Manifestations of psychosis and neurosis. Insightful healing through both talk therapy and ancestral rituals. Engaging reflection questions with expert answers. This story doesn't just teach, it reveals. Dive in.
In the heart of Nigeria, where rhythm, ancestry, and identity converge, two lives unfold. One, a brilliant Lagos accountant trapped by perfection. The other, a bright Enugu daughter haunted by unseen voices. This isn't just a story of minds in distress. It is a tale of childhood, culture, conflict, and healing. According to Sigmund Freud, the human psyche is divided into three parts: the id, which demands immediate pleasure, the ego, which negotiates with reality, and the superego, our conscience, shaped by society's values. Together, they govern how we feel, think, and behave, often in silent conflict. Here's a brief description of Freud's psychosexual stages using Adeyemi and Chinyere as examples. 1. Oral stage, 0 to 1 year. Adeyemi craved comfort through breastfeeding but often left crying, leading to anxiety and later perfectionism. Chinyere fed with a bottle by her grandmother while her mother was ill. Felt emotionally distant early on, leading to trust issues. Second anal stage, 1 to 3 years. Adeyemi, strict potty training from a stern father. Developed obsession with order and control, anal retentive. Chinyere, received mixed responses. Mother was nurturing, father disapproving. Led to emotional confusion and lack of control, anal explosive tendencies. Third phallic stage, 3 to 6 years. Adeyemi became emotionally attached to his mother and feared his father. Oedipus conflict. Chinyere envied his attention a brother received from their father, developing feelings of inferiority, electroconflict. Fourth latency stage, 6 to 12 years. Adeyemi, repressed emotional struggles, focused on neatness, order, and academics to avoid feelings. Chinyere, played the role of the teacher in pretend games but internalized unspoken pain, avoiding emotional expression. Fifth, genital stage, 12 plus years. Adeyemi, avoided intimacy and social situations, later developed anxiety and obsessive behaviors. Adeyemi's ID was born in hunger. As an infant in a Yoruba village, he cried for comfort. But when his needs weren't met quickly, anxiety began to grow. Quiet, unseen, but lasting. This unmet oral need left a mark.
Every life starts with the id, raw desires seeking instant satisfaction. In infancy at the oral stage, baby Adeyemi knew only hunger and comfort. This story follows their psychological development, from the formation of the id, ego, and superego to the conflicts at each psychosexual stage. We will see how unresolved childhood conflicts led Adeyemi into neurosis and Chinyere into psychosis, and how both seek healing through psychotherapy and traditional practices. According to Freud, if needs in the oral stage are not consistently met, a child may develop an oral fixation, becoming overly dependent or seeking comfort in things like eating or chewing. Adeyemi would later cope with stress by chewing cola nuts and smoking, unconscious echoes of his infant hunger for comfort. In Chinyere's early life, the id also reigned. As an infant in the Igbo culture, Chinyere's world was her mouth. Nourishment and trust formed through feeding.
My child, sorry. My blessing I give to you. Stop crying.
In a Yoruba courtyard, toddler Adeyemi faced one of his earliest lessons, potty training. But his father's stern gaze and high expectations planted a different lesson. Control meant approval, and mess meant shame. The father raised his voice, "Don't mess yourself. You are a man." Chinyere's early lessons were filled with mixed signals. After an accident, her mother responded with care, but her father frowned from afar. Caught between kindness and criticism, her ego learned confusion, not control. At 5 years old, Adeyemi adored his mother. She was warmth, safety, love. But when his father walked in, something shifted. A quiet rivalry took root, not in anger, but in awe and fear. This was the seed of the Oedipus conflict, shaping his moral compass. Chinyere watched her father beam with pride at her baby brother. He clapped, he laughed, but not for her. A thought echoed in her mind, quiet, painful. If I were a boy. Her superego began to take shape, not with balance, but with guilt and silence. In the latency stage, Adeyemi found order and hid behind it. While other children played, he aligned books, polished his shoes, and rewrote homework. Again and again. Laughter was background noise. Control was comfort. Chinyere helped her mother in the village market. Sharp, polite, dependable. Later, she became the teacher in every game, instructing dolls, friends, even shadows. But the real lesson: emotions had no voice, only duty did. By his teen years, Adeyemi feared imperfection more than failure. He tore the party invitation again. Instead, he sat alone with textbooks, clocks, and the echo of worry. This was not discipline. This was anxiety in disguise. At 17, Chinyere's voice was clear, but it was not heard. She challenged her father and lost. During NYSC, the silence echoed back in whispers no one else could hear. Shame became a shadow. Her mind began to fracture. "You will marry Chike," Chinyere's father said to her. Adeyemi finally spoke the truth, not to please, but to heal. In therapy, he faced the echo of his father's expectations and found room to breathe. I check things over and over. I'm afraid of mistakes," Adeyemi stammered. "You don't have to be perfect to be worthy," replied the therapist. Chinyere's healing began in the north, with prayer, herbs, and silence under ancient trees. But it was in a counseling room back in the east where she spoke and was heard. The old and the new came together. Finally, her pain had witnesses. "Forgive me, daughter, we didn't see your pain," Chinyere's mother said in tears. Adeyemi and Chinyere now stand before others, not as patients, but as advocates. At the mental health conference, they share not just recovery, but hope. Their pain became purpose, not as that bad boy or Ogbanje girl, not as that mentally deranged neurotic guy, and not as that unfriendly, unsocial, and always lonely lady. The society is full of adults with interest in childhood. It is almost difficult to see someone without a similar past. Adeyemi got therapy accompanied with modern medications. The same was Chinyere. Today, they lead inspiring lives. We all need to heal. Our society, family, friendship, marriage, and world need to heal. The leader and the led all need therapy, prayers, and medication. There are no bad eggs. It is just the mind playing games on us. No need to commit suicide or do anything unsocial. Just reach out to someone who cares and you will see the
This is the end of part 1. I hope you enjoyed the dive. Be sure to see this story in your exam or something similar, so watch out for part 2. In the second part, we dive into the history and development of psychoanalysis. We do a bit of theory, clinical practice, and define some concepts. We also look at relevant clinical applications. So, make sure to subscribe to be notified when part 2 comes out. So, hit the subscribe button, like, and share. So watch out for the second version of the story. We dive in, but deeper into the theoretical and clinical part of the story. You will like it. See you then.